Have you ever looked at a car and wondered how on earth did they put all that together? It's a perfectly reasonable question. A modern car is made up of about 30,000 individual parts. That's more bits than you'd find in a truly enormous Lego set. Putting one together isn't just a matter of nipping down to the shed with a spanner and a bit of hope. It's a monumental feat of engineering logistics, sheer brute force, all choreographed with the precision of a ballet. But the really clever bit is that this ballet isn't happening in one place. It's happening all over the world, all at the same time. Think of your car not as something made in Germany, Japan, or America, but as a global citizen. Its story begins long before it gets a shiny badge on its nose. Steel from ore mined in Australia, processed in China, rubber for tires from plantations in Thailand, microchips designed in California, and manufactured in Taiwan. Everything has to start somewhere, and for a car, that beginning is often deep inside the ground. The journey begins with raw materials: iron ore, bauxite, crude oil. These materials are dug, drilled, and mined in vast quantities. It's a dirty, noisy business. The very first step. Once extracted, they must be transformed. Iron ore is shipped to enormous steel mills. Steel mills, China; steel mills, Germany. Melted in colossal furnaces, then purified and alloyed to make different steels. High-strength steel for the safety cage, pressable steel for doors and bonnets, turning rock into rolls of sheet metal. Meanwhile, bauxite becomes lightweight aluminum for engine blocks and wheels. Crude oil is refined into polymers, pellets melted and molded into dashboards, bumpers, and thousands of interior parts. Oil derivatives make synthetic rubber for tires, hoses, and seals. Each part has its own recipe and process. Our car is already a global affair. Steel rolled in South Korea, engine blocks cast in Mexico, Canadian aluminum ingots, dashboards molded in Spain. Specialists make bits, left front wings, wiper motors, then load and ship them to where they'll meet. Now we have a planet-wide collection of car parts, stacks of doors in one country, pallets of pistons in another, boxes of buttons and switches somewhere else entirely. The challenge? Get all these pieces to one place exactly when needed. This great migration rides on container ships, for huge components, and cargo planes for smaller, lighter, or urgent parts like microchips. Air is faster, but much more expensive. Reserved for urgent needs. This is just-in-time manufacturing, like a complicated meal. You don't want the potatoes ready an hour before the roast, nor gravy cold at plating. A truck with seats might arrive at precisely 10:15, just as those cars reach the station. A terrifyingly precise timetable managed by powerful computers and stressed planners. At port or airport, containers move to trains or lorries, fanning out toward the assembly plant. Convoys converge, windscreens, wiring looms, exhaust systems, arriving in a steady stream 24 hours a day feeding the assembly line. This ceaseless timing is the invisible heartbeat of modern car manufacturing. After their long journey, the first parts to enter are rolls and stacks of sheet steel. This is where the car takes physical shape, the body shop, or body in white. An astonishingly noisy, dramatic place, percussive clang, showers of sparks. The first step is stamping. Huge presses, several stories high, slamming down with thousands of tons to turn flat steel into door panels, roofs, bonnets, and the floor pan. Freshly stamped panels are laid in jigs, giant precise frames holding each piece perfectly. This is where the skeleton is born, and the surgeons are robots, hundreds of them. Enormous multi-jointed arms, moving with speed and precision no human could match, swing into action, pick, place, fasten. They spot weld, electrodes clamp, a massive current fuses panels in an instant. A typical body has several thousand of these welds. Floor pan, side frames, and roof are welded together, a mesmerizing mechanical dance. Minutes later, flat sheets become a rigid shell, the body in white, the raw, unpainted frame that forms the safety cell. Lasers and cameras scan thousands of points, ensuring perfection down to fractions of a millimeter. If it passes, it's ready for a bit of color. Once the body in white is checked, it moves into the most chemically complex and cleanest area, the paint shop. Color isn't just pretty, it protects the metal from rust and corrosion. The shell is dipped, dunked, and sprayed to remove oil, dust, and welding grease. It must be spotlessly clean. Electrocoating, or E-coat. The body is submerged in primer, an electrical charge draws paint onto every surface, inside and out, even hidden nooks and crannies. This is the first line of defense against rust. After curing in a giant oven, color layers are applied by robots in a sealed, dust-free booth. Robots twist and turn, applying just the right thickness. First the base coat, the pigment, racing green, flame red, then it's dried. Finally the clear coat, 1 to give that glossy, shiny finish, 2 to act as a tough protective shield. It protects against scratches, stone chips, bird droppings, and sun UV fading. A last-long bake cures all layers into a single, hard, beautiful finish. The car now has its color and shine ready for the main event. With its fresh, glossy coat, it looks like a car, but it's still an empty shell. No engine, no wheels, no way of moving. It enters the busiest, most complex area, the final assembly line, a constantly moving conveyor. At each station, parts are added. First comes trimming, the fiddly bits. While paint was curing, a sub-assembly built the car's soul. The powertrain and chassis, engine, transmission, exhaust, suspension, steering rack, and fuel tank, all assembled onto a single subframe. This complete unit, prepared and tested, is the mechanical heart. Then, the most dramatic moment, the marriage. The chassis lifts, the body lowers, and with millimeter precision they meet. Workers and robots secure heavy-duty bolts. In this moment the car is truly born, body and soul, one. Wheels and tires arrive, balanced nearby. A robot lifts, a worker torques lug nuts in a star pattern. The car stands on its own 4 wheels. One of the first big installs, the wiring loom, the car's nervous system, a huge bundle, sometimes over a mile long with hundreds of connectors feeding every system. Pre-assembled modules arrive just in time, the dashboard, air vents, glove box, lifted through the windscreen opening and bolted in. Thick carpets headlining center console, doors built offline, glass, motors, speakers, trims, then rehinged to their original body. Robots apply adhesive, placing windscreens for a watertight seal. Seats, heavy, motorized with heaters and airbags, are installed with ergo chair assists. Bolted down, the interior is almost complete, a space you could sit in and drive. Almost fully assembled, engine, wheels, interior, paint, but not yet a car. First, fluids. Petrol, engine oil, brake fluid, washer fluid, coolant. Inspectors watch for leaks. One drop, and it's pulled for attention. Then the moment of truth, the engine fires into life for the very first time. Driven onto a rolling road, it's driven at speed in place. Acceleration, brakes, gear changes, steering are tested. Technicians query the ECU for fault codes from thousands of sensors. Then a high-pressure water test blasts from every angle. Nobody wants rain inside their new car. Afterwards, every electronic function is checked. Radio, headlights, windows, wipers, every button, switch, and light. Any rattle, misaligned trim, or sticky button sends the car to rectification. Specialists diagnose and fix. Only after passing hundreds of checks is it given the green light, polished, protected, and declared finished. The journey is complete. What began as ore and oil has been transformed. Through a global dance of logistics, a storm of sparks, delicate coats of paint, and the precise assembly of 30,000 parts, a finished car is created. It joins rows outside, sorted by destination, some to local transporters, others into multi-deck row-row ships for distant lands, where they'll meet their owners.